All right, so Anthony Fantano gave another 10. He has now given 6 10s in his reviewing music career, and today we're going to be checking out the newest addition to the 10 Club. This is Spelling with her album The Turning Wheel. Now, I haven't heard of Spelling before this, and before you comment down below that something about Fantano and how I'm only listening to this because of Fantano, yes, that is partly true. If it weren't for Fantano, I wouldn't even know about this artist in the first place. And I'm gonna go into this not just expecting to love it right away. I'm gonna really go into this and see if it actually lives up to the hype. That's a whole other topic I could get on. People just thinking that people who watch Anthony Fantano can't think for themselves, because yes, there is some people like that who watch Fantano and just copy everything that he does. But Fantano also, you have to keep in mind, Fantano has been doing music reviews for like over a decade. So yes, it is one dude's opinion, but considering he has been doing it for over a decade, and considering the traction and the audience that he's developed and the respect that he has, you have to at least acknowledge his opinion. You don't have to respect it, but you have to at least acknowledge it. So yeah, I don't know why I went on that little tangent, but today, like I said, we're checking out The Turning Wheel from Spelling. Spelling, it has 3 L's in her name. Ha! Get it? Get it? Spelling. But there's 3 L's. Hilarious. All right, I have listened to 2 tracks off of this, and I believe I listened to Turning Wheel and Revolution. I went to her YouTube channel, watched those, because those were the 2 songs that had videos to them. So I've heard those 2, but I haven't heard anything else from this album. I will say what I have heard from this album, from Turning Wheel and Revolution, I liked Turning Wheel probably a little bit more than Revolution, but both of those pretty good songs. So yeah, looking at Genius here coming into this, I mean, I don't know how much the lyrics are going to play a part in this. Obviously, they're going to play a decent part, but I just want the music to hit me once again on first listen, and I'll look into the lyrics a little bit later. But just skimming the stuff on Genius here about the album, it looks like the lyrics are going to be a lot about just life and just human life in general, and society, and just human interaction, nature, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm hyped to get into this. First track is Little Deer. Let's go. Those swelling strings are nice. The plucked strings on top. Oh, this sound is so full. That piano glissando. Oh, that was nice. Oh, I love the brass sections. I like this chorus. Oh, this is joyous. So bright. This feels like we're going somewhere. We're passing through time. All right, Little Deer, the first track. Wow. Halfway through that, I was thinking that it was feeling a little bit long, but that kind of, not really a switch up, but that ending part there where everything just got super bright, the instrumentation got even more lush. Really, the production on that, I had nothing to really complain about. I feel like all these different instruments came in at the right times. They didn't stay for too long either. They just did their little melody, dipped out, maybe repeated it a couple times. But they all fit really well. Loved the brass sections, loved the swelling strings at the beginning. And in terms of Spelling's vocals, with Turning Wheel and with Revolution, I was a little bit thrown off by the vocals at first, because they're very like theatric, and they're very musical theater-esque, maybe opera-esque. But as I listened to, obviously this is the 3rd song I've heard from her, as I listened to her singing more, I actually am growing to like it more. And she's obviously a talented singer, as you can tell, because these vocals are just, they're really good. I have nothing to complain about. Yeah, great chorus on that one. Catchy little chorus. Instrumentation was beautiful. Let's keep going.
Don't hurt my pride. Lonely.
Oh my gosh. That first track was daytime. This feels like nighttime right here. This feels, with that synth in the background there, that arpeggiating synth, this little kick drum here, this feels like a darker side of that first song, if that makes any sense at all. This feels very 90s, maybe 80s. This is really good. Production is so good on this. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow, this album's off to a great start. First two songs, and I really loved them. Like I said, to start there, it felt like a darker vibe, and it felt like I said, if the first track was daytime, this felt like nighttime. But once again, once all the instruments came in at the end there, it just became so bright, and it kind of made me second guess what I'd said at first of this being a song that sounded like just the nighttime in general. But yeah, for someone who isn't like the biggest artist, the production on this is like really good. Like this feels like a massive like pop album that would be like a huge hit in like the 80s or something, and it just has like a huge budget behind it and a bunch of people behind it. I'm pretty sure there is a bunch of people behind this, but it's honestly just kind of inspiring how an artist, as, I mean, she's relatively small in the grand scheme of things, as relatively small as Spelling is, someone like her can have an album that has production that sounds this good and this cinematic and this just theatric and just spotless throughout so far. So yeah, let's keep going. Turning Wheel, I've already heard, of course.
Moving,
This part feels so familiar to me. It feels so familiar. Just a beautiful ending to a beautiful track that, once again, I've already heard. Turning Wheel, that was the first song I listened to from Spelling. And yeah, her vocals are great on that. That's just the sound of it. I feel like I've known that song all my life, but I obviously haven't. It's just one of those songs that has this feeling that you can't really describe, honestly. Like, I don't know. It's weird. It's like you feel like you've heard it and you've known it your entire life, but you haven't. If that makes any sense, there's probably songs for you guys that you feel the same way about. But production on it was great, once again. And what I can gather from the lyrics is just talking about this hopefulness and this wishing for just peace. Lay down all your weapons. And it's just this kind of hopeful sounding song that I really vibe with and I really like. So yeah, great song. The Future. Let's go. Okay. Strange. What instrument is that?
'Cause I live in the future. I live in the future.
Cool little ending. The Future, not my favorite track so far, probably the weakest one so far for me. I just feel like the production was really good once again. Her vocals were really good once again, but I wish it just did a little bit more. I feel like it didn't. I mean, those vocals that came flooding at the end there were kind of nice, but I wish it just went somewhere a little bit higher. And I wish there was more of a sticky chorus on that one. The future. If that was the chorus, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like there could have been maybe a little bit of a better chorus. But other than that, still a pretty good song, but probably the weakest one so far, in my opinion. Going into Awaken. Acoustic ballad, maybe? Probably not. It's probably not going to stay like this for long. That was a beautiful note change. Where's this gonna go? That's cool. I hope this ending interests me. I do like this scale. Got some destruction going on. Yeah. Okay. That might now take the cake as my least favorite. These past two just haven't really done it for me. This one we just listened to, Awaken, I feel like so far the album has done a good job of not sounding like these songs are coming straight out of a Disney movie, but that one for me sounded like that came straight out of a Disney movie for me. And it's just a little bit corny, just a little bit. Maybe it's just not for me, but yeah, it sounded too kind of Disney movie-esque. And I guess that was honestly like the most dark, if you could call that dark, the most dark song on the album so far. I feel like the track before, you had this like bright, friendly Disney princess, and then this is like whoever the villain in a Disney movie is, like the witch or something. I don't know. I don't freaking know, bro. But yeah, these last two ones have just been okay for me. I'm hoping this next one here pulls me back in a little bit. And I want to say, in no means are these last two songs bad. They're just not on the level of the first three ones for me. Emperor with an egg. Once again, I feel like we're traveling through space and time. Oh, that's good.
He's a bird, he's a king, he can swim with his wings. He's a bird.
That synth sounds so good. Heavy imagery in this one. The strings in this album have been so good. Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is getting a like. That was beautiful. Whoa. Whoa, okay. Heavy imagery in the lyrics for that song. I have no idea what any of them mean, but just we're back. We're back with the great songs. That was another great one. The synths in there sounded great. The strings throughout this whole thing have sounded amazing, and they sounded amazing once again on there, and I like that little acapella ending there as well. Okay, I'm looking at Genius here, and the only annotation here is that this song is about a penguin. So I guess it's about a penguin. I'm pretty certain that there's probably some deeper meaning to it, or maybe not. Maybe not. Who knows? Maybe it's about a penguin. Maybe it's just a fun song about a penguin. But there's probably a deeper meaning. The penguin is probably a metaphor for something. I don't know. Boys at School. He's like, oh. Oh, that sounds so good. Yes. Da-da-da, da-da-da. Oh. That bass. Just got chills. The electric guitar. Whoa. Oh. Wow. That might be the best one so far. No, that's the best song so far. Boys at School. Oh my gosh. Where do I even start? The production on that thing, best production of any song so far. The climax totally was just completely satisfying. The build to the climax was just amazing. Her vocals were amazing as always. I like the electric guitar in there. I like pretty much everything about the production on this. No, I do like everything about the production. I don't know what else to say. I don't even really have words because that was so good. It was epic. It was super bright, super colorful production. Just Best song so far, hands down. Went into Legacy. Legacy.
Out of my mind. And
When she goes into that lower register, it's beautiful every time. Because her vocal, like she has such, when she goes into her higher notes, it's so bright. But in the contrast, when she goes into that lower, it's still like, I'm not a freaking voice teacher or anything. I don't know the terminology, but it's just, it sounds so full and so rich when she goes into those lower notes.
delight.
That bass line, yes. Whoa. Oh.
Into the daylight.
Okay, going straight into the next one. I don't have much to say about that one. It's like sinister piano. This is cool. Violin is beautiful. We're going to like electronic, like 80s synth pop.
Are you afraid?
Whoa. Feels like it's just shooting sparkles at me. Why did I just say that? I love those sinister, like, minor synths again. Like evil laughing. Wow, that sounds so good. That like wah wah synth. That's what it's called, guys. That's the actual term for it. The wah synth. The wah. It's like a wah guitar, but it's a wah synth. I didn't talk much about Legacy because I didn't really have much to say about it. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't all right. It wasn't the worst tracks, but it also wasn't one of the best tracks for me. Queen of Wands here, though, this has got to be one of the best tracks. I love the dark feel. I feel like this album has really taken a dark turn ever since, like, Boys at School, pretty much. Maybe even a little bit before that. But, yeah, the album's definitely taken a darker turn. It definitely has a darker sound now. It definitely has that, like, villain, like witch in like a Disney movie type vibe, you know, if that makes any sense. That one was really like an 80s like synth pop, like just weird thing, but it really worked. It really worked really well, and I loved it. Feels like we're in the circus. I just want to sing along to this. Oh, that was cool. That piano's mixed kind of weird. I love the like swelling vocals throughout this whole album. This is my motion for swelling. The guitar solo? And then we're gonna transition into some synth porn? Yes! Wow. So good. So good. It's gotta get the like. Another great song. Loved the guitar solo in there. Why did my voice just like die? That was the last thing I was expecting in this album, was an electric guitar solo, but we got one and it was great. She had some vocal inflections that were a lot less theatric in this one. It sounded a lot more like, it just had like a classic pop kind of flavor to them, if that makes sense. A couple of those vocal inflections and like, not a run, what would you call it? What's, vocal riffs. That's the term I'm looking for. Yeah, great song. Loved it. We're going into Revolution, which is a song I have already heard, of course. I already said that, but yeah, it's pretty good. Let's go. Revolution. Art is so good. It's so good. All right, Revolution, like I said, already heard it, but the more I listen to that song, the more I like it. I think it's probably one of her best vocal performances on the album. It's definitely one of the most catchy songs in terms of her vocals and just a sticky kind of melody, in my opinion. And that kind of that transition at the end there feels kind of demented and kind of dark, but also beautiful at the same time, kind of enchanting at the same time. And yeah, I like how it just evolves into this piano with this, like, it sounds like you're kind of in like a town square in some random village. I don't know why, it just does. All right, we're going into the last track, Sweet Talk. I'm hoping for a great ending here. Cello! Bring the cello in. JK. That's a bass. Is there a cello in there? I don't know. Probably. That vocal? Oh, I just got chills. What instrument is that? When that bass came in? Hold up. I gotta go back. That was like the most satisfying moment on the whole album. When that bass came in. Wait for it. Right here. Oh! Yeah! What is that? That sounds so good. It's over. Oh my gosh. You can't just do this. You can't just do this. You can't just do this, Spelling. Why was that so good? Why was specifically that last song so good? That shouldn't be... What instrument was that? That sounded just so... Like, that was like the most satisfying sound I've ever heard. And when that bass came in, that moment just like freaking blew my mind. And what I was saying before about Revolution probably being her best vocal performance or my favorite vocal performance, I'd say probably that last song is probably the best vocal performance, unless I'm forgetting something earlier in the album. Like those high notes that she was hitting on that one. Great ending. Great ending. Those last 4 songs, all just absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'm actually like, coming into this, obviously Fantano gave this a 10, but like I wasn't really expecting it to be this good. Like, and I can see why some people wouldn't like this and they'd be confused why Fantano liked this so much, but I kind of get it. The production is so spotless and so clean, but also so unexpected and just so satisfying and so just well done. Like, it sounds like this album sounds like it was worked on for a really long time, and it sounds like there was lots and lots of people involved in it, and just the instrumental diversity. Like, I don't even know what that last instrument was on that song. I don't know if there's been a time on this channel where there's been a song that had an instrument that I didn't know. That was insane. The production on this thing is just on another level, honestly. Aside from a couple tracks that fell a little bit flat for me, those tracks were The Future and Awaken. Those might grow on me on further listens, but everything else was at least, it was either good or amazing. Like, The Future and Awaken, those were just kind of average to me, but everything else was good or amazing. The vocals, on the vocal side of things, there was a couple times with The Future and Awaken where I felt like the vocals were a little bit too theatric, and maybe that's just because super theatric and super like musical theater-esque sounding vocals it's just not something that I like, and maybe it's just not for me, but I felt like they went a little bit overboard on those 2 tracks there. But aside from that, this album did a really good job of creating this sound that sounded like it could kind of be in a Disney movie, but it didn't sound like a super generic, just like soundtrack to some freaking Disney movie from like the early 2000s or something like that. And yeah, just once again, the instrumental variety on here, insane. The production is so good. There's so many of these like nuanced moments that I'm probably gonna pick up on further listens as well. I'm probably gonna pick up more production elements that I didn't even notice on this first listen, because it's so dense. It's so lush. There's just so much going on. And in terms of the lyrics, once again, I didn't really pay attention that much to those, but there's a lot of imagery. There's a lot of just cryptic kind of stuff here, metaphorical stuff. A lot of it seeming to be just about life in general. And the whole vibe of this album just feels really like magical, which I don't really want to use that word, but that's just what it is. It just feels magical. And there's definitely a tone shift in this album as well. The second half definitely is darker compared to the first half. The first half feels like just like an uppity, bright little Disney princess or something, and then the second half completely brings it down. There's a lot more low end, there's a lot more minor sounding melodies and a lot more sinister melodies. Her vocal performance as well too sounds a lot more haunting, and just like sounds like there's something not quite right. But once again, it doesn't go for the most part, it doesn't go too far into sounding like something that's just ripped off straight from a Disney movie, because I feel like if it was like that, it wouldn't be nearly as good. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my reaction to The Turning Wheel by Spelling. My introduction to Spelling, it was great. It was great. I wouldn't say it's a 10 for me right now off of a first listen, but it was definitely great. It was definitely great. There's just a couple tracks that fall a little bit flat in the first half there. So Spelling, I mean, she's got great vocals. She's definitely a talented singer, as you can tell. And once again, I just admire the obvious amount of effort and work that clearly went into this, and it just feels super, super ambitious, and it doesn't really fall flat at all. Yeah, that's gonna do it for this reaction. I didn't want to just automatically love this because Fantano gave it a 10, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. Once again, going back to that Fantano thing that I was talking about earlier, yes, I agree that people shouldn't just love an album because Fantano loves it. You obviously have to have your own opinions and you have to have your own taste. But there's no denying that this thing, like, if you just listen to this, even if you came into this without any preconception about it, without knowing that Fantano gave it a 10, without any of that, coming into this, the vocals are so good and the production is so good, like, it's just hard not to love it. It's hard not to love it. And it's so ambitious. It's pretty unpredictable for the most part, and it's just really good. It's really good. So that's gonna do it for this review. This is like exciting me. I don't know why this is exciting me so much. Like, I feel like with OK Computer, I gave that a 10, and I gave the Bottomless Pit a 10 as well on this channel. I thought those were like perfect albums, but for some reason this is like exciting me more, and maybe it's because this is my first introduction to Spelling, but I don't know. I'm loving it off of first listen. I need to look into the lyrics once more, or I need to look into the lyrics more once again. So yeah, that's gonna do it. Spelling, The Turning Wheel, it's great.